Okay, good afternoon, everybody. We'll go ahead and get started with our kind of second part of this afternoon session. And here's our agenda. We're going to have really actually four speakers this afternoon. We're going to have two different kind of parts. First part will be around peer mentoring. The second part of it will be about meditation. So I'm going to start with introducing Allison Botwell. Allison has been practicing as a clinical social worker for 14 years after completing her master's degree. She has held positions working with at high-risk adolescents in hospice before joining the dialysis field. With her present job, patient services manager for the Florida ESRD network, Allison investigates patient complaints with dialysis and kidney transplant centers. She also directs the Patient and Family Engagement Project and advocates for patients' rights to get dialysis treatments. Allison is passionate about her work with the dialysis community. Also is Brittany Bigham. Her background is in the field of social work and public health. In her previous roles, she worked at Big Bend Cares, serving the HIV/AIDS population. Brittany progressed to contract and invoice coordinator for the Florida Department of Health, serving the Florida Keys and Miami-Dade. She currently serves as a patient service coordinator for Health Services Advisory Group. You'll also be hearing from John Cabalua, a patient peer mentor from ESRD Network 17, Northern California. And then Maureen McFadden Barnacci is a registered nurse and certified meditation teacher. Growing from an idea where she worked in financial services, Maureen began learning meditation to ease the stress of everyday life. Having a goal to shift from being a crisis mediator to having a regular practice, Maureen became a meditation teacher and a fervent believer in meditation. Maureen shared her passion for holism and nursing practice as regional operation role in DaVita, Integrated Health Kidney Care, and was recognized for leading a supportive care team focused on aligning palliative care and hospice for patients. She has a goal to expand her meditation practice and to teach other people the positive benefits of meditation. So I'm going to turn it over to Allison. You're
Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all so much for having me. Like Stephanie said, I work for ESRD Network 7, which is in Florida, and I am the patient services manager and social worker here. So we're going to talk about peer mentoring. I'm going to start with some slides about what peer mentoring is, and I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Brittany. Stephanie, if you can go to the next slide. All right. So, of course, we're starting with what is a peer mentor. This is a person with, sort of any degree of experience within the kidney community who provides education and emotional support to help other patients adapt and cope with the burdens of dialysis. They can come from any background, any experience level. A lot of times peer mentors do have a little bit more experience and are, patients who have been successful in some aspects of dialysis in the sense of, being involved with their care and, successfully coping, especially the beginning part of dialysis. They help others feel less alone in facing the challenges of kidney disease. Peer mentors can motivate a peer to stay active in his or her care. So certainly we would want the mentors to be also active in their care. Next slide, please. And what is a peer mentee? Someone who might be new to an experience or situation, he or she is the person who meets with the mentor. So in this particular field, of course, that would be somebody who might be new to dialysis. I want to add that certainly in our experience, this doesn't have to be a patient who is new to dialysis. It can also be a patient who is thinking about a change. For example, changing to a home modality, considering a kidney transplant. Those are all places where I think they would benefit from speaking with a mentor about that person's experiences. And then certainly someone who is looking to make a connection with another peer who is thriving despite kidney disease, and then somebody who wants more knowledge from somebody else. We hear over and over and over again from patients that they wish that they had been able to speak to another patient when they first started dialysis or when they were making different decisions involving their dialysis, because of course it's incredibly helpful for anybody to speak with somebody who truly understands what they're going through. Next slide, please, Stephanie. So the values of being a peer mentor: honesty, integrity, reliability, confidentiality is obviously big. We want the mentees to feel safe, to be able to speak with the mentors, and to obviously know that their information won't be given to anyone else. And then the desire to ask patients what's important and to really hear what that patient has to say. In social work, we talk about active listening. So the mentor would be somebody who actively listens to that mentee without sort of already knowing what they want to say. So you come in just with a blank slate, listening to the mentee, maybe asking some open-ended questions to encourage that mentee to continue to tell their story or to ask questions, and also to build that rapport, that feeling of safety with the mentor. Next slide, please. So we look at this and we think, you know, we love these peer mentoring programs, and why are they so helpful? So studies have shown that depression in patients with chronic disease is common. Lots of different types of chronic disease, and certainly ESRD is among those. There have been studies about depressed patients with kidney failure having a higher mortality rate than non-depressed patients. Depression is even estimated to account for a death rate of 0.2% for every 1,000 dialysis patients. So social support has been shown to improve survival and quality of life in dialysis. But we know that dialysis and ESRD can be pretty isolating for patients. So how can patients have that social support? Well, peer mentoring is one option. So we look at these peer mentor programs as not just, you know, a part of these systems that we've created, but really as integral and a way of helping a patient both emotionally and physically, because we know that emotional health is connected to our physical health. Next slide, please. So the benefits of a peer support program. Studies have shown that peer support is effective for patients with kidney disease and in long-term dialysis therapy. And the peer support has been shown to be effective for patients with lots of different types of chronic illnesses or other health conditions. We know that many patients that are on dialysis don't just have dialysis. They also have heart disease, diabetes. You see on this slide lots of different lists of things, and so peer support can be helpful to these patients in so many different ways. It works because patients give each other something that a clinician or a staff member at dialysis doesn't have usually, which is that shared life experience. And that's truly invaluable, and it's something that you can't teach. It's something that until you've experienced this, the rest of us don't truly understand in that same way. And so we just really believe in the benefits of mentees having somebody to talk to who has, in their own way, walked in their shoes. Of course, everybody's experience is different. Everyone has their own life experience. Everybody has their own kidney ESRD story. But we know that that's also a shared experience. So next slide, please. So how can patients benefit? They can learn from each other, learn from other patients' experiences, get information on topics like I mentioned before, home dialysis, transplant. There are things that we at the networks work on that I think would be beneficial to share with mentees, like life planning, which is in dialysis, the staff are required to do a plan of care, and it's supposed to, in the best case scenario, include the patient in their plan of care. Obviously, that is a goal. It should be a goal for every dialysis facility staff member, is to include the patient in their own plan of care. But CMS has asked the networks to go a little bit step beyond that in life planning, meaning what are the patient's true goals? Just because the staff members have goals doesn't mean that that might be the patient's goals. And so we want the patients to be involved in that. And I think that's a great way that a mentor could encourage a mentee. You know, speak with your dialysis staff about what your life plan is, what's important to you, why are these goals important, and how can you get there? So, and then participating in the facility a little bit more. Each facility has something called a QAPI program, which is a quality improvement meeting that they have once a month, and that they are encouraged to include patients in. And so how great if a patient can actually become involved at a deeper level in their facility and improving things for both themselves and for other patients. Of course, we know that any type of connection, and certainly the mentor-mentee relationship, can help decrease the feelings of isolation. And helping with adjustment to dialysis and coping with ESRD. So many patients feel overwhelmed when starting dialysis. I actually have honestly never spoken to a patient who doesn't feel overwhelmed or didn't feel overwhelmed when they first started dialysis. So it can really help to speak with somebody who understands that and understands what they're experiencing, has gone through it themselves, and has come out the other side and can say, you know, this is the way that I'm not only coping with it, but I'm thriving with dialysis. And we have so many of those amazing patients that volunteer with us at the network and at the NCC that are truly thriving on dialysis. Next slide, please. So what are the responsibilities of a peer mentor? Of course, sharing knowledge and their personal experience, encouraging others to learn about and manage their health. Again, that would be it being involved in their care, their plan of care, and that life planning. Providing encouragement and support to new dialysis patients or to patients who are, again, considering a transition. Maybe they're trying to get on the transplant list. Maybe they're considering a home modality. Those are all ways that a mentor can provide support and encouragement. Discussing the benefits of actively participating in your care, sharing the benefits of following your treatment plan with other patients. Maybe a mentor has really great recipes that they've tried that are kidney friendly. So somebody who's first starting dialysis, the diet and the fluid restrictions can feel incredibly overwhelming. But mentors who have been through this and who are thriving and, you know, who have learned how to manage their diet and their fluid intake can give invaluable advice. Of course, never to take the place of the dietitian, but just, you know, have you tried this kidney-friendly recipe? Talking with patients about different treatment modalities, I already, you know, discussed that. And then supporting patients going through the transplant workup process. That can be an extensive process. It can feel overwhelming. It can take a lot of time that I think maybe gets discouraging for patients. So having a mentor almost as your cheerleader who says, you know, you can do this, you can keep going. Here's the way I got through it. Look, you know, and a lot of our mentors also have transplants and have experienced that entire process, including the surgery and the recovery, and they can talk to a patient about it from that perspective. Next slide, please. Ways that they can connect. So I think obviously we always think about a mentor and a mentee sitting in the same room, connecting in person, and that's fantastic. But we also have so many other ways that they can connect. They can connect via phone, email, Zoom, social media. Our networks at this company have started a Facebook group, but I know that there are lots of different social media outlets and ways that those patients can connect with each other, which is a new wonderful way that we can make this work. Next slide, please. So what a peer mentor is not. It is not somebody who gives medical advice. Again, they are focusing on their own experience. You can always share your own experience, but we never want a mentor to give medical advice. That is certainly for the medical team. It's not a contact person for complaints or grievances for the care being provided. Obviously, those need to go to the facility or to us at the network. There's lots of different outlets for that, but it would not be the mentor. It is not the person responsible for providing answers to patient questions that would be best answered directly by the doctor or care staff. It is not a substitute staff member for required care team, patient education, assessment, evaluation. It should never take the place of the things that the interdisciplinary team or IDT is supposed to be doing at the dialysis facility. And it is not someone who can assist patients in completing surveys or questionnaires. Again, we look at this as a support person, not really a person to take the place of others or the other professionals in that patient's life. Next slide, please. These are different resources that we wanted to share, different support groups and peer mentoring programs for dialysis patients. Some are national, nonprofit organizations. They have websites devoted to educating and empowering those with kidney disease. I won't go through all of these, but hopefully this, is a great starting point for anybody who's looking for some of those resources. And obviously reaching out to your ESRD network. We can also put you in touch with things in your local community. For example, I know about resources in Florida, but I might not know about resources, out in California. Next slide, please. All right, so I am going to pass it over to my colleague, Brittany. She is going to be leading us for our next section, which is the interview with a peer mentor.
Thank you, Allison. Can you guys hear me? Okay, good. Okay, hello everyone. I'm going to be doing an interview with John. John, are you on?
I am on. Can you guys hear me?
Okay.
Perfect.
Yes, good. I can hear you. Okay, so I'm just going to do a brief introduction for John. So, John Capaluna. So he is an in-center dialysis patient for 14 years. He is a transplant recipient for 13 years. He worked in dialysis facility with CCHT for 10 years post-transplant. He's currently research associate for a dialysis company, and he is a patient advocate for NKF and more to come. So how are you doing today, John?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Yeah.
Okay, so what made you interested in becoming a peer mentor?
Well, as a dialysis patient, I was lost. There was a lot of anxiety the first week, new way of living. I had questions. I questioned myself, like, am I burdening my family? Um, Doctors are telling me one thing, and I'm totally forgetting, like, what they're saying. So yeah, like, the reason I wanted to become a peer mentor was to alleviate emotions that I saw in patients, which is anxiety, the feelings they had, and any questions they had. I just wanted to make sure that I could answer them, because a comfortable patient will grasp the information a lot better than a patient that's that can't even think, especially during the first week.
Okay, great to give back. So what motivates you to want to become successful in the program?
Well, for the mentees, I want to see them grow by taking control of their care, being more vocal about their care, and also knowing their options so they can make the best decision possible. That's pretty much what motivates me.
Okay, great. And how do you cope with dialysis on a day-to-day basis?
Ooh. So when I was on dialysis, I had a really, really good dialysis care team. The CCHT's RNs telling me about my fluids. The first few months, dietitian, giving me pamphlets on what not to eat. My parents being very supportive when it came to my diet. They also changed their diet. Uh, and also my sister, she finished RN school at the time I was diagnosed. So every time I came home with pamphlets, she would read everything to me and try to explain it to me the best she could. So that's that was my day to day coping with dialysis. I had a lot of support.
That's great. Your family was there to support you along the way.
Yeah.
And what did you consider your biggest strengths related to dialysis?
Well, when I was on dialysis, my biggest strength was patience. All the all the waiting when it came to being on dialysis, um, being at the hospital, waiting for doctors, um, knowing that there's going to be complications during dialysis. We're you know we're going to get sick because we're um, that much at risk. So you just got to learn how to roll with it, know your limits, and just be patient with everything.
Okay. And what are your long-term and short-term goals?
I guess my long-term goal is to be a bigger advocate for patients. I want to join every advocate committee because I learn a lot from those meetings. Uh, they give me a different
Mhm.
point of view every time I go to those, and also add something to my peer mentoring bag. Uh, I also want to see. Well, when I do go to those, I also want to see the bills that they bring up pass. Every committee has their own ask of Congress, and since I'm able to uh, be there, I want to push those agendas. So yeah,
Okay, great. And how do you deal with stress on a day-to-day basis?
let's see. Usually with stress, um, I like to go fishing. That's, I guess you could say, when I was in center, patiently waiting for dialysis to end just to go fishing. That's one of the ways I deal with stress.
Okay, great. And what motivates you and what keeps you encouraged?
I know it's cliche for me to say, but the hope for change. 14
Mhm.
years ago, I was diagnosed with end-stage renal disease. Since then, I've worked and spoken with patients, and there continues to be a gap in patients being newly diagnosed with end-stage renal disease and understanding their options. So yeah, that's what motivates me and keeps me encouraged.
Okay. And do you personally have a mentor yourself? And if yes, have you benefited from it? And if no, do you think it would be helpful when starting dialysis to go through a transparent evaluation process?
So no, I did not have a mentor,
Hmm.
but yeah, it, for sure it's going to be helpful. Just talking with patients in the center when I was a patient, um, it helped me a lot because you know they would answer my questions. The MDs, obviously, they're I love them, but they're super scary to talk to. So you know, having the support in the center. Um, what was the would it have been
If you had
helpful?
if you had a mentor,
Oh yeah,
like
uh,
through your process.
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, it would
Okay.
totally help.
And could you give an example when a mentee shared with you when they were feeling down or anxious and how you responded to it?
Oh yes. So just recently, um, a patient was complaining. Well, wasn't really complaining. He was just being down about how he wasn't physically able to do the stuff that he did. Um, he played a lot of tennis before dialysis. So you know, we brainstormed on what he wanted to do. Ping, I said ping pong. He's like, I'd rather be outside. Like, I'm in a dialysis chair, three
Yeah,
hours a
active
week.
sports.
Yeah, yeah. He said, I'd rather be outside. So we brainstorm a little bit more. There's a new thing called pickleball, I guess. And yeah, we talked about that. We try to see if there's a few courts around him, and yeah, he tried it out, and he's super hooked on it. So yeah, I guess when it comes to uh, talking to patients, yeah, you just gotta brainstorm on what they like doing, and see if there's like
And
a little
progress
wiggle
from
room.
there.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. And what was that
Yeah.
called again? You said pickleball?
Pickleball. Yeah,
Pickleball, yeah. Yeah, that's new. It looks fun.
yeah.
Okay, well, those were the following questions for the interview, and I would lead it back up to Stephanie. Thank you for your time, John, and hope you have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just a couple nice little comments in the, excuse me, chat. One for you, Brittany. Pickleball has been around a long time.
I'm just now hearing about it though. Like
And
I lit
yeah, and yeah, just really good. Yeah, she just learned about it 20 years ago. So, but that's okay. You can always learn something new every day. So thank you very much for that. So I think we'll move on to Maureen as our next presenter. She's going to talk to us about meditation and take us through a couple little meditation exercises today, Maureen.
That's right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Maureen McFadden Bernacki, and I am a registered nurse, as Stephanie shared. I have a focus, and I'm board certified in holistic health. And I really love meditation. It changed my life, and I'm going to share a little bit about how I got involved, and also share with you about the wonders of meditation. So I should ask at the beginning, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you fine.
Wonderful. Okay, so on the next slide, we'll go ahead. The objectives today, we're going to talk a little bit about meditation and mindfulness and the benefits of meditation, and we're going to try it, as Stephanie said. I recognize that in the group today, we may have people who have meditated or have a regular meditation practice. Maybe some have tried it and do it occasionally. I myself came from, let's see, I'll call it crisis meditator. So when I was in a jam or stress showed up in my life, I tried to meditate it away. And that didn't really work. That didn't really work. It's better to have a solid practice. And then when the stress or the crisis shows up, you have better tools to deal with that. So after I tried and tried the method that I did have, and I did work in financial services before becoming a nurse. I was a single mom for a long time, many years, so there was plenty of stress in my life. And I thought, okay, there's got to be a better way. So I made it a goal to learn more. And I read a lot of books and I attended some retreats. And then I thought, well, I'm just going to learn how to be a teacher because then I'll have a good practice. And that changed my life. So for thousands of years, people have meditated to find stillness or silence or peace within. And you may already know, I heard mention in the prior sessions about stress and the impact on our emotional and physical health. Meditation can help us move beyond the daily stresses of life, provide greater clarity, and slow that swirl of overwhelm that may happen, helping us to make better choices and step into our power to live fulfilling lives. So, on the next slide, I want to start with a quote from Jack Kornfield. It reads, "The invitation of meditation is to come into the present, to quiet the mind, to open the heart, to find an embodied presence and loving awareness." And that's really what it's all about. So it's been a long day, I'm sure, for many. So I invite you, wherever you are right now, to just get comfortable and take a deep breath in. Maybe with a deep breath, lift your shoulders up to your ears, up, and then roll your shoulders back and just let it go. Let's try that one more time. Deep breath in, shoulders up to the ears, and then back and then down. And sometimes a little thing like that can make a difference right away. So I shared a little bit about my why and why I chose to have a path of meditation. And I have now several years of a consistent meditation practice. And I can tell you that I have found that stillness, that place of peace within. It's not like I'm walking around in a bubble or anything, right? But I do start my day with meditation, and I have that space, and that energy comes with me through my day. So, as I mentioned, life still happens. There's stress in everyday life, but you can have better tools to cope. So, mindfulness, relaxation, clarity are some of the benefits of a basic meditation practice. And it can help reduce pain or help with pain management, as well as stress, and improve your mental health. Starting meditation is easy. If you can breathe, you can meditate. So one of three things really can happen when you meditate. So you sit down, you're going to have this nice space of meditation for yourself. And when I first started, I thought, well, that I had this like happy bubble vision, that I was going to go into this space and nothing was going to come into my mind or my awareness or my environment. And that's not what happens, right? The brain is constantly at work. We have 60 to 80,000 thoughts at random every day. So when you sit down to meditate, it's quite possible that you'll have thoughts. Sometimes when you sit down to meditate, and this has happened to me, especially if I get very comfortable, I fall asleep. But if you fall asleep, you probably needed the rest. And so that's okay. And you might find a few minutes of stillness, which is a great gift. The goal is to stay in the present moment, and you can always return to that present moment space by drifting your attention back to your breath. So when the mind starts going, return to your breath. Like many things that require practice, whether that's tennis or pickleball or meditation, practice helps. So having a steady practice and doing it on a regular basis will help create ease in your life. So let's give it a try. We did it once with the shoulders. We don't have to do that, but I invite you to take a long, slow, deep breath in through your nose, and then release your breath through your open mouth. So let's try that one more time. Long, slow, deep breath in through your nose, and just let it out with a sigh. All right, so on the next slide, we're going to talk a little bit about the scientific benefits of meditation. Meditation can give you that feeling of calm, peace, and support your overall health. Many of us know why this is important, but I'll talk a little bit about that. Stress is a part of life, right? Challenges, whether it's in your home or driving your car or on the job. I mean, stress happens. If you're walking around on planet Earth, you probably are exposed to stress. It might be helpful to know that the average person experiences that feeling of stress 10 to 15 times a day. And when we feel stress, the body immediately responds. We don't have to think about it. And it's a self-preservation mechanism to fight or flee. Our sympathetic nervous system rapidly prepares to protect us, right? There's a rush of hormones that happens automatically, and our heart may start beating faster, our breathing picks up, blood pressure goes up, and we may not then be in the best place to deal with what's in front of us. So how to quiet that physical and emotional response to stress? evidence published by the National Institutes of Health, the New England Journal of Medicine, and other sources show that meditation is a solution to help counteract that adrenaline charged response that happens in the body, to bring our blood pressure down, lower our heart rate, and even reduce inflammation. How does this happen? Well, the scientific evidence shows that people who meditate actually have more gray matter in regions of the brain responsible for attention, emotional regulation, and mental flexibility. And the amygdala, which is the part of the brain that regulates how we feel stress and anxiety, actually shrinks in response to meditation. So meditation offers an antidote to the stress of life, and it doesn't require a prescription or any other tools, really. The positive effects of meditation offer increased awareness, clarity, and a sense of peace. It's helped me move, and I mentioned in the beginning what I was faced with and what I was trying to accomplish. Meditation has helped me move from being reactive to stress to having a more conscious response to whatever the challenge is that's in front of me. Also, it's as close as the breath we breathe and is a powerful resource that is available for us all. So on the next slide, I want to talk a little bit about the pattern interrupt. I talked about the biologic response in the body that happens, the fight-flight response. When this occurs, right, our heart rate goes up, blood pressure increases, we're probably breathing a little faster. Inside the body, adrenaline and cortisol are rushing around, trying to help us with what's in front of us. And sometimes we even have an increase in blood sugar or a suppression of the immune system. Emotionally, you may get aggressive or defensive or want to withdraw, emotionally withdraw, go to your room and close the door. Chronic stress does plant seeds of illness, which could affect all the systems of the body, the GI system, cardiovascular system, etc. So this tool to support hitting a pause button on this stress is the pattern interrupt. The acronym is SODA, and you can see what it stands for right there. I learned this from one of my teachers. His name is David G. So when that stress shows up, the trick is to take a deep breath. And so that's a stop. Observe what's happening inside you and what's in front of you. Detach from the situation and really awaken to an alternative way of handling the situation beside being defensive or aggressive or withdrawing. It only takes 16 seconds and it allows us to refocus in that short time. So we're going to give this a try. You may have heard of box breathing or 4-part breathing, and it's quite similar to that. So imagine there's a situation that happens that's causing you stress. We're going to take a deep breath in through the nose, hold to the count of 4, hold for the count of 4, exhale to the count of 4, and then pause for the count of 4. So let's give it a try. I invite you to float your eyes closed and take a long, slow, deep breath in through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Observe the air as it moves in through your body and down to your belly. Observe your belly being filled and release the breath to the count of 4. Pause. 2, 3, 4. Let's do that one more time. Deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Release. 2, 3, 4. And then pause. 2, 3, 4. So that took less than a minute, a little bit more maybe than 32 seconds because we did it twice. So you can go ahead and open your eyes. And if you want to jump in the chat and put how you're feeling from that, and did you feel some settling down in that short 30 seconds or so? Our whole experience really was less than a minute. And when we're faced with the challenge that's in front of us, taking a deep breath, and the trick is to observe the breath. So it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, counting through it. Watch the breath moving in through your body, down to your belly, and then hold and release and pause and do it again. Sometimes you have to do it several times. That's okay. It's a tool, right, to help provide some calm to whatever's in front of you. Your heartbeat may have slowed a bit. You've at least filled your body with great oxygenated blood, nourishing hormones, and in the process, you've released a little bit of stress. All right, on the next slide, we're going to talk a little bit about a couple of different types of meditation. We could really do a whole presentation about types of meditation, but I just put these out here. Few choices. And any option that we choose, it's really important to turn off the distractions, right? So if your TV's running, or your cell phone's on, or you're trying to do your email and do this, it's not going to offer you the same benefit. So give yourself the gift of turning off all those distractions and focus on your breath. You can do this sitting down. You can do this walking mindfully. Like we're walking and having a conversation on the cell phone. That's not the same as mindfully walking. We can do movement, whether that's yoga or stretching, or even reaching our arms and taking a few deep breaths will shift the energy very quickly. You can do a body scan, paying attention to where in your body you might be feeling discomfort, or maybe you're feeling great, and it's good to have that awareness too. And another term that I learned from David G was meditation. And that's kind of how I started, because I thought, oh, I don't have time for meditation practice. There's no way I can fit this in my life, blah, blah, blah. So you could do meditation. So when you get up in the morning, if you need to use the restroom, then return to bed for just a couple of minutes, and you can do your meditation right there in bed. Each of these options are viable choices for mindfulness and meditation. And it's as easy as taking a long, slow, deep breath in and watching that breath move through your body and back out, and then repeating the process. Meditation is a powerful tool to help us be present, support stress management, help you rest, sleep, and provides physical and emotional well-being. It's really about disconnecting from all that chatter that goes on in the brain, and moving to that space maybe between the thoughts just for a couple of minutes. And that gives you an opportunity to have a conscious response to whatever life is presenting. Okay, so we're going to give it a try. See in the chat, somebody mentioned Tai Chi is great. Yes, absolutely. Mindful movement right there. Thank you. So we're going to give it a try. So go ahead on to the next slide. And wherever you are, make yourself super comfortable. Here's something I learned about meditation. There's some people say you got to sit like this, you got to have your hands just like this, you got to have your back just like that. And that's not comfortable all the time. So comfort matters. Whatever you need to do to get comfortable, go ahead and do that. We'll give it a try. I will guide us through just a couple minutes of meditation. We will start by using the breath as the object of our attention. And what that is something for our mind to focus on. So I invite you, wherever you are, to float your eyes closed. Take a deep breath in and gently let that go. We'll try that one more time and move the breath, if you can, in through the nose and back out the nostrils. Consciously inhale through the nose and exhale. We'll do this a couple of times. It is helpful to relax if we lengthen our exhale. So if we breathe in, as we did a few minutes ago, to the count of 4, maybe we breathe out to 5 or 6. Not to be attached to counting, but just to extend your exhale. As your eyes are gently closed, your top lid is just ever so gently resting on your lower lid. Notice the seat you are sitting on, where you make contact with that seat, and how that seat sits on the earth below us. Watch your breath moving in and out. Thoughts will come. Feelings may surface. There might be sounds in the background. It's all okay. It's all part of life. Acknowledge whatever's coming up. Thoughts, sounds, physical sensations, and just let them float by like a cloud in the sky. Then return to the breath. Watch the breath move in through your nose and down to the belly. You may notice the coolness of the air as it enters and the warmth of the breath on the exhale. We're going to ask ourselves a few sacred questions. Continue to watch your breath and ask, who am I? Who am I? Who am I when I'm at my best? Just let the answers flow. Sometimes there aren't any answers. Whatever's coming up, whatever's bubbling up, that's okay. Who am I when I am at my best? Deep breath. Next, what am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? Who am I grateful for? Who am I grateful for? Just let that gratitude list go. And now let's invite an intention into our awareness. Just one thing that you'd really like to see unfold in your life. It might help to ask, what's most important to me today? What's most important to me today, or this week, or this year? Again, the answers may bubble up, and there might be a few things. That's okay. Just pick one thing that's most important to you. And when you have a clear intention that's crystallized for you, I invite you to bring that intention into your heart. Bring that intention like a sacred seed into your heart, planted in the fertile soil of your heart. Plant it deep, gently, and nourish it with your love, knowing that the roots of that intention have already taken hold. Now, take a long, slow, deep breath in through your heart and surrender as you breathe out. One more time, deep breath, lifting your heart. And now you can just let it go. You've planted the seed. Let the divine flow of the universe take it from here. Continue to watch your breath. And with your eyes continue to be closed. Today, in addition to our breath, we're going to use a mantra. You may be familiar with that word. If not, man means mind and tra means vehicle. So a mantra is a vehicle for the mind, something for it to focus on during the time that we're going to spend. Today we will use a mantra, so hum. I invite you to say it out loud with me. So hum. So hum. So hum. It's a vibration, and it's a vibration just giving our brain something to think about. Now whisper, so hum. So. So. If it helps, you could maybe say so with your inhale and hum with your exhale. The repetition is easy and effortless. Remember, during the meditation time, you might have physical sensations or hear sounds. That's okay. That's all part of it. When that happens, return to your breath. Return to so hum. I will watch the time. Just settle in and watch your breath and repeat the mantra. So hum. And when you hear my voice again, please stay as you are with your eyes closed and allow the quiet to settle in. I'll watch the time. So take a long, slow, deep breath in with me and release any tension in your body. One more time. Long, slow, deep breath in and let it go. After the meditation, you may feel some quieting, some settling down. Whatever you feel is normal and good. Meditation is a way for us to come home to ourselves, accept this present moment, and shower ourselves with love and kindness. May we move forward as our best version and travel easily through all the layers of life. When you are ready, I invite you to gently open your eyes. So, how was it? I hope it provided you just a little bit of peace in our busy lives. Thanks for the comments. So, how do we take this forward? Where do we go from here? Let's take a look at the next slide. Where do we go from here, right? So we've reviewed about meditation and mindfulness and stress, what happens in the body, that stress response, 16 seconds, how to just step away from that stress when it shows up. And we actually did a meditation. So if any of you have not meditated before in your life, now when somebody says, have you ever meditated? You can raise your hand. The benefits of meditation are felt after the meditation as well as during, right? When our eyes are open and we're dealing with day-to-day life and interacting with the world. Again, having thoughts is part of the practice. Just recognize that that's a thought and come back to your breath. There are a gazillion mantras that are great vibrations to help our mind focus. And I thought I saw somebody mention in the chat about Insight Timer. I do have a resource slide, and actually Insight Timer is on there. So if you don't already have a practice, I encourage you to start maybe a 2-minute practice in the morning and 2 minutes in the late afternoon. It's really awesome to have a 2-minute practice or 3 minutes or whatever you can carve out at the end of your day before you go into the evening time. So if you do it right before bed, sometimes you fall asleep, which is okay. But, 2 minutes here and 2 minutes there is not so bad. So on the next slide, I have another quote by John Kabat-Zinn. You may have heard this. You can't stop the waves, but you can learn how to surf. We can learn how to surf the waves of our emotions to help us stay best afloat and enjoy this precious life that we have. If we are able to pause and manage our thoughts and feel our feelings, we're able to ride the waves with more ease. So that's my presentation for today. Thank you so much for the time. I do believe we have a resource slide, Stephanie. Yeah, there. So there's a lot of books on meditation and mindfulness, your local library, and that's free. There's lots of references available, resources online. Insight Timer is a free meditation app with hundreds, thousands of meditations. Headspace is also a great app, and I think it's connected to Netflix. So if you have Netflix, you can jump on Headspace, and Calm are other apps. Also, it's, I mentioned nature here. Music helps, calm, peaceful meditation music. Sometimes I turn on ocean waves because I really like that. That kind of helps sort out the other things going on in life. But whatever works for you. So thank you very much for the time, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Maureen. That was wonderful. And you're still getting some nice comments in there about everything. I know Johnny Jones, give a shout out to him. He says he does it every day. It helps him when he walks his 2 miles a day. And
that's great.
Yeah, so very nice. Walking, there's a lot of walking. I agree. It's a great way to, and inexpensive, no cost, just to go and walk, and meditate. So thank you so much. And I want to thank Allison and Brittany earlier talking about peer mentoring, and John to come on and share his personal experiences as a peer mentor. So really appreciate all of our speakers today that really, contributed to a really good summit.